So, what do we think about that? How much of what you're doing is about your physical body?
Everything.
100%?
Nearly half.
Nearly half, okay. What were you not doing it's about the body? Or what are you doing
bed,
that's not
run a bath.
Well, that's about the body though.
Drove here.
So the car is taking your physical body to where you need to go. So that would be about the body as well. So another way to think about it is, would I need the car, for example, if I didn't have the body? No, you'd think it and you'd be there. Nizella?
There are a few things. I found it a bit difficult because sometimes I think what we do with our mind influences how our body. So it's hard to make that straight.
Okay.
That straight split because you know, for instance, when I got up this morning and so I didn't come right into Bromley, so I walked down and I thought it's a lovely day. That's both for my body and my mind. So it's difficult to make that. Like I say, because I think a lot of what we do without knowing it, I suppose if it's just directly just about my body, I'm sorry to complicate things.
That's okay. What you're saying is right,
yes.
but you wouldn't need to do that if you didn't have a body.
Oh, right,
so let's make it that simple in some ways. Just for you're absolutely right. And as we get onto the, really it's all mind. It's not even anybody anyway. Yeah. But that did involve your physical body.
I put 50 because when I got up, I listened to Psalms meditation. I sat down, listened to the meditation.
Did you need a body to do that?
Because I get up,
so it's about the body as such, isn't it?
Then I pray.
Good.
Then I went to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's about the body.
That's the body, clean and...
Body.
In the car, body. So
yeah. Denise, same thing really?
Yeah, only 4 things were to do with the body. Everything else was to do with other things.
Like?
Very, very preoccupied. I am very preoccupied this morning because a friend's son has gone missing overnight and he's got learning difficulties, so that's taken up a lot of my time. So a lot of my time was spent on the phone, texting people, getting my daughter to do social media stuff.
Okay, so I'll just stop you there.
All,
that's all body, because it's about his body, it's about you having to pick up the phone. So the point is, why you're doing 50-50s and that, and the really point that you have to get is, everything you do with the body, for the body, and the measure really, I think, to make it simple, is could I do this without the body? Okay. So that's the way the ego tricks us. So it isn't that you've got it wrong or anything, that's the whole point. We're not aware of what we're doing half the time, and it's to serve the ego and its temple, because the body is the house of the ego. Without the body, we wouldn't need an ego, we wouldn't have an ego, as we'll start to see going through. Okay, it's only because we've got a split mind, a split brain, that the ego comes about. Do you remember that? We've done that before. Yeah, you understand the split brain theory, your head heart battles if you want. So in my terminology, just to help you, is that I talk about the left brain, if you like, the logical, rational, small self you as the ego, and the wider, greater self of you that sees everything, that knows you can't be, damaged or killed or hurt or anything, is the spirit. I just call it the spirit side, the right side, yeah? Okay, so I'm just going to start by reading this. Okay, so once the separation appears underlined if you like, to occur, a split mind is formed, and the other becomes known as the ego or the fear-based self. The more the separation continues, many things are created as a natural consequence, such as cause and effect, because you can only have cause and effect in a physical environment. Okay? Time and space. So again, time and space are only meaningful in a physical environment. And remember, what's the thing that puts you in the physical environment? The body. It's the body that's focusing you into what you think of as this world. Judgment, again, if there's no levels, if there's nothing to say, you know, I like that jacket better than that jacket, you know, again, this comes about by a physical environment, projection, punishment, scarcity, lack, specialness, and communication. So we must always now continually avoid God to avoid punishment, because once we have separated ourselves off, this is the basis of the Course in Miracles, that it's all about that we have separated ourselves off from God, it seems, and so the ego wants to keep reinforcing that, because if we go back to the light, the ego fears its death. So it's all brought into separation and the belief that you are now separated, you are small self you in this world, and you have offended God by doing it. God is now searching you out, which is why we have to keep changing identity and changing body. It's as if we're hiding who we really are in this body, and God can't see it. Almost like my cat. It thinks if I can't see it, if it can't see me, I can't see it. So the ego has built that into us, that if we hide our true self under all of these layers, and remember our labels and judgments and all, if we hide and pretend we're nothing like God, look how bad I am, look how terrible I am, I can't be love, I can't be light, and that way I, you know, have been taught that I'm safe. So it's better to have suffering here than to face the wrath of God. So that's what we're being taught, if you like. So we continually avoid God to avoid punishment. Because we cannot live with such feelings, we cannot turn to God. So we turn to the ego, which has a plan, which is to push the sin down into the subconscious, to deny it, to repress it, to make us forget who we really are, so that we don't know it's there. Its other tactic is to project it onto other people, other things, or the body, to keep them separate from us, so that we can disown our sin. We talked about the scapegoat before. If I put my sins onto the goat, this is the story in the Bible, and we drive it out of town, I don't now need to face myself every time I see the goat. And that's what we do with other people. If you upset me really badly, I never want to see you again. So I drive you out of my life, so I don't have to look at actually the fact that, you know, we got into the attack-defense cycle, it's my projection, all of those kinds of things that we've done before. Yes? Still with me, everybody? Yeah. The body and other people's bodies become your scapegoat. This, however, makes you feel guilty, and then you know you deserve more punishment. This continuous flow keeps us asleep, unpeaceful, and out of heaven. The only remedy is to continuously forgive the other, onto whom I appear to have projected my guilt, and thus allow forgiveness to be received by the self and the ego, and therefore, the ego is slowly undone until peace and power are restored to the Son of God, which is who you really are and who you still are. However, this is all a dream anyway, and I'm already at home with God dreaming. So that really summarises, in some ways, the story that the Course in Miracles has and the ego has in relation to the Course in Miracles. That's the kind of overview. Anybody not agree with that? Is that what you've all taken from the Course, or what we've done, or makes sense to everybody? Say now if it doesn't. Okay, so let's look at how this plays out. Can you just sit that back in for me? Thank you. And again, you know, stop me, ask questions. If you disagree, I'm not saying I'm the expert. This is just how it all makes sense to me. Just turn that a bit back. You see that, Denise? You all right? Okay. So, the body. What is the great question that the Course in Miracles always says is ask, what is this for? So without looking there, what is your body for?
To keep us functional in this world that we've imagined.
Yeah, to keep you functional, because you can't operate, can you, in the world without the physical body. So in some ways it's like the car. You are the driver and it's like your car. It takes you on your journey. Anything else?
It's where our spirit resides.
It's where your spirit resides, yeah.
True, yes.
Often deeply, deeply buried and maybe even denied, but the truth is, yeah, the spark of God is always within you. You are the Son of God. Anything else? Okay, so in regards to the Course in Miracles and how the ego sees the body is really the tool of separation. It looks like I am separated from you, which is the only way the ego can set up a continuous state of fear, competition, lack. You've drunk all my coffee, I've got nothing. What else? And everything around that, if you like. So the separation, if you think about the word, it's to see apart. So really, all of this, everything is one thought. The one thought that I am separate from God. And I play that because this is all my projection, my universe. All I keep seeing is how separated, because you're the Son of God, you're the Son of God, you're the Son of God. It's like the jigsaw puzzle cut into many, many pieces, and we're all the little pieces. Really, it started off as one board, one puzzle, and now we look like we're all separated. So I still see you as puzzle, like I am puzzle. So you're the Son of God, like I am the Son of God. But now there seems to be a division between us. And again, that allows then, you can be in competition for me, for resources. You can be out to get me, you can hurt me, you can kill me, you can punish me, and all of that, yeah? So understanding and getting yourself to a place where you understand the body is not real, but it's the temple of the ego, is the only way that you will find your way out of here to heaven. And it really is so important. It's taken me a long time to realise why it's so important. But without the body, if you like, you go back to spirit, which means you are one. You go back to the energy. You are everyone. You are everything. Anyone seen the film Lucy? Have a look at the film Lucy. I mean, it's horrendously violent. I don't like the violence. But it really is about this. She takes these drugs and she ends up with all of her brain awake, if you like, because it said we only use 10% of our brain. Dolphins use 20%. But she gets to use 100% of her brain. And at the end, but you know, she becomes one with everything. So it's an interesting film if you can get past the violence. I don't know why they needed to make it so violent, but anyway. So in some ways, that's what we're aiming for. To be totally using our brain 100% as the amazing tool of creation that it should be, because the brain just facilitates the consciousness. So it's like if we think about a computer, and let's say the hardware of the computer, the modem, the keyboard, the screen, if you like, they are the brain. Well, the modem is the brain, isn't it, of the computer, yeah? It facilitates the software. So if we say the internet is the software, if we say internet is mind, computer is the hardware, so the brain and the body and all of those kinds of things. The internet, if you've got a poor computer and a low resolution screen, when the internet comes through it, you're going to have a poor experience of whatever you're watching, aren't you? Yeah? So it's not the internet's fault. The internet's still pristine from wherever it's coming. But if you've got poor quality equipment, you're going to have a poor quality experience. So our brain has become so compartmentalized, so full of negative beliefs and programs and fallacies like the body and stuff like that, that we get a very poor experience of what the spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, is trying to get us to do and to see and to be. So although it comes through as pristine, by the time it's gone through all your beliefs and programs and all of that, and your fears and your beliefs about reality, what actually gets projected out is that poor quality version, if you like. Yeah? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so we have to differentiate between brain and mind, because your brain is only, like your computer, following instructions. And like your computer, when it gets an instruction, it doesn't question it. It doesn't, say, oh, she didn't mean to do that. She really wants Windows 7 or whatever. It just does it. And then it gives an instruction to the body. So whatever you are saying is a pure instruction to the body. Because every thought creates an emotional state. Every thought, no matter how neutral that you think it is, it's going to have an effect on the body. And I think we did this before, did we, in this class, where you have just think a moment for about something negative, and you think a moment, and then, the body, your shoulders might start to drop, the mouth starts to drop, the energy starts to feel heavy. And then I say, think about something fantastic. You see already the change in my body language. Think about something fantastic, the happiest thing you've ever had, and notice how that affects the body. So you're still in the room, nothing changed, except your thought then had an effect on the physiology, okay? So we've got to realise that every thought you have affects your physiology. And so all day, every day, if you're thinking negative things, if you believe you're the body, if you believe in fear and lack and separation and all those kinds of things, it is always going to make the body feel heavy, lacking, set off fight or flight with the fear response, all of this kind of thing. So the ego needs the body to keep reinforcing its kind of warped version of the world. So we need to differentiate between the hardware, the body, in and of itself can do nothing. Otherwise my arms will be doing this all the time, it will just be doing its own thing. The body cannot do anything without an instruction from the mind. That's why when you're brain dead, you're over. Because the body can't go on its own unless they artificially, inflate your lungs and things like that. So really have to understand and watch what you're saying, because everything has an effect. It's a direct instruction. So let's think about projection now. So the body locates us into time and space, i.e. I believe I'm here now, and it's 10:30 on a Saturday morning. And so that becomes my reality, the point from which I think I have to move and be. Now, we've already talked about the fact that past doesn't exist. Prove to me you were alive yesterday. Anyone managed to ever do it? No. So you can't. I can say, oh, look at this picture on my phone, but I'd be looking at it now. So the past only exists, if you like, in your head. The future, whenever you get there, oh, tomorrow I'll be playing tennis, well, it will always be now by the time I get there. I can think about the future, but the future actually only ever becomes now. So there is only the now. But the now is not of time and space. Because the past, the present, the present, and the future are thoughts, aren't they? As we've just said, they don't exist. They only exist in your head. So they're thoughts, ideas. The now seems to be very different. Present, present is not the same as the now. The present is exactly what it says on the tin, because we think the past creates the now and the future, don't we? If I let me get an example. If I don't know, I believe that I've always been a victim, I'm going to expect the same behaviour now. I'm going to expect people to treat me like a victim now. So we believe that the past creates the present, and it does. For example, how do you know what that cup is? Because you've been taught when you were young, A cup is this, it holds liquid, you put your hand in the handle, you do this. So you've got all of these old past files that tell you what is happening in the present. So when you see the cup, you're seeing the present. You're seeing the old file, aren't you? So this is making sense to you. I know this is a bit, as I said, this is a bit out there this week, but you have to get these things, okay, to understand that you're not in time and space. So we know that time and space is an idea. The now is very different. The now is actually space. It's what's happening here, because we say the here and now, don't we? So now is an aspect of space, not time, because it's about the space. If it's now, it has to be in the space, doesn't it? Even if it's the space in my head, has to be in the space. If I think about tennis tomorrow, I'm not there, it's in my head, it's an idea. So you might want to think about that more deeply. We won't go into it any more deeply today. But just, you have to see, the thing with A Course in Miracles, you have to get all of the elements for it all to make sense. If you believe you're a body, it doesn't make sense that time doesn't exist. So you really have to get all the elements. Okay, so time doesn't exist, there is only the now. Okay, and the body, it seems, is always present. But the body is always present. It's your idea about the body today. That's why sometimes you look in the mirror and you think you look okay, because it's a reflection of how you're feeling. If I look in the mirror tomorrow, because I believe I've had a heavy night out, my expectation in the present, the present, is that I always look rough after a night out. Speaking for myself personally. So you're always seeing the past, okay? And when you're focused in the body, it's always present, present. So an anorexic, for example, will look in the mirror and see an elephant because that's who they think they are, what they think they are. Whereas other people will see them as skeletal. But no matter how you try to convince them, they will see what they think about themselves, as we all do. Just because we believe, we've been taught, programmed, that mirrors are a direct reflection, it might not actually be true. You know the warped mirrors in the fairground? They might actually be the true represent. My head might be 10 foot long. How do I know? So, because it's my universe, I'm going to just be creating what I think I look like. Okay, so let's now think about how we project on to the now, what we create in the now. So projection, let's think about a projector. So a projector, it has a film inside. Let's say we're in the cinema. The projector has the film inside. Note, the film is not part of the projector. Okay? So we could say the film is like the spirit, if you like, sending through the equipment, through the hardware, the film, and it gets projected onto a screen. Now, in the cinema, for example, when you were a child, you didn't know anything about the projector. You just knew the screen was there. And when you're young, you think the people are really on the screen. They're really there. This is real life. So unless we know that there is a projector producing this film, we can't connect cause and effect correctly. And I think that this is my life and I have to react to it. Now that's what the ego believes. It doesn't know about the spirit because it created itself, if you like. And so it just goes, this is real, this is what I'm dealing with. Because it doesn't know about the projector and the film.
But isn't the ego's role to keep you from your true self?
Yeah.
The spirit.
And it can't, because it doesn't really know what the projector is and where this film is coming from. All it knows, like your life, you woke up and you go, right, this is what life, this is where I am, what do I do? And people teach you what to do, and you go through life believing they're teaching you right and dealing with what's in front of you. in some ways you need to remember before you started the course how brought into physical reality you were, or before you did any self-development work, and you thought everything was real and, you know, you had no power over everything. It's because we forget how it felt to be like that sometimes as we move away from it.
It's amazing how I was telling my friend that everything I was taught was a lie.
Exactly, exactly.
Was a lie.
Is a lie.
It is
a lie. And as you...
Did I tell you that? Did I say that to you? Oh.
And as you find out, then, you know, there's two ways, isn't it? You kind of get a bit mistrustful of life or yourself, or you start to look for the truth. The ego then will fight tooth and nail to keep you away from it, which is why when we're doing our self-development work, it goes like this. Because the ego goes, no, and we'll try to sabotage all of the good work that you try to do. Because once you've seen the light, do you want to go back to being bound in darkness? Of course not. Most sane people wouldn't anyway. Okay, so the projector, again, is the hardware. It has no opinion on what, you know, what's happening and what film it shows. So just one second. So our brain is the projector. The eyes are projecting out and also recording in. Important to see. They don't just see, they're taking back the information in and feeding it back up through the system, if you like. So it becomes a self-fulfilling loop. And if I've got my ego in control, I will see, you know, let's say somebody appears at the window there, I might see that as, who's that looking in, what are they trying to rob me, all of this kind of stuff. Whereas if my spirit is in control, I would actually be going, oh, who's that? Oh, are they coming in? What's, you know, I'd have a different opinion about it. So depending on which kind of film you choose, if you like, how you want to interpret the film will be how you experience it. I guess it's like the film Lucy, isn't it? Those who like horror and blood and gore will love it for that, and those who like this kind of spiritual psychology more will love it for that. So you get to create your life by telling yourself a story about what you are seeing. Everything is neutral. Everything is neutral. But how I decide to see it is going to be how I experience it. Positive definition in, positive experience out. Negative definition in, negative experience out, as the lovely Bashar says. Okay, so it's pure instructions. Physiology follows the thought. This is the ego's temple. So it will do everything it does is to love it, to honour it, to protect it, to keep it real, okay? It locates you in time and space. Now, the other thing is, it feels like it is you. So, oh, sorry, yeah, you wanted to ask something, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, when you are trying to then work, you know, to elevate yourself to the spirit, why is it then painful to move from that? Because
the ego doesn't want you going there. So it goes, oh my God, she's going towards the light. What can I do? What can I do? I've got to get her back. If she goes towards the light, she goes too far, I'm never going to get it back. I've got to do it now. So the more kind of enlightened you become, if you like, the more it's going to fight to pull you back down.
Well, the detachment is oh.
Yeah. It's huge, isn't it? And the other thing that I think as well is it appears as if you're risking everything because you could become non-existent according to the ego, and you don't really know, you've got no guarantee that there's anything afterwards. It's all about trust and faith, isn't it? So you're almost giving up everything for the possibility of getting nothing, and that's the game it loves to play. So this is why I think it takes so long, and it takes, you know, a lot of, I don't want to say effort, but a lot of work to undo the ego, because it's life or death. It's survival or not survival. It's existence or non-existence. And no matter how much we think we don't care, you might not care about life, but you do care about existing.
I mean, that ultimately boils down to faith.
Yeah.
It really does.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, I can understand that the ego perpetuates your reality.
Yeah.
And until you're able to let go and trust in
Yeah.
the faith, but then what happens in between that? Because it's such a long journey and you can't expect, for want of a better word, a miracle overnight. So it's continuously challenging you.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But
Because
we
you're right. You're actually stepping into the unknown by handing it all
Yeah.
over.
But while you're undoing the ego, you're also need to. This is why the Course in Miracles is so important. We can undo the ego with psychology, if you like, but you also have to be building it up and replacing it with the idea of spirit, with the understanding of time and space doesn't exist, with all of the other elements that then. So for me now, it's like obvious. Well, if time and space doesn't exist, then how can I be a physical body? And all of these other things that I'm doing and I thought I was doing for other reasons don't make sense anymore. However, I'm not there yet because, and I can't understand because I kind of know it, perhaps as theory, but then I do still catch myself falling into the old thing, believing that I'm a body.
But however, as you undo and having a step of faith, because step of faith is evidential too.
Yeah.
Where the Course of Miracle.
Yeah.
Because there's element through the journey that sustain your belief.
Exactly.
Make you believe that this is right.
Yeah.
From joy, for example.
Yeah.
From peace.
Yeah. And in the Course in Miracles, Jesus is continuously saying, isn't he? Give it up to spirit. Give it to me. Let me deal with it. Because every time we try to fix things, the ego is going to try and sabotage us. But if Jesus or the Holy Spirit or whatever fixes it for you, they know how to fix it without upsetting the ego, if you like, let's put it that way, or bypassing the ego. Because the Holy Spirit doesn't even see the ego, it doesn't even know it's there, so it doesn't care. So, you know, the control freak in me wants to fix everything for myself. But I continuously forget that bit that I should just be giving it up. I always want to know, I always want to, and as I said last time, it's the paradox of learning. Because again, you only need learning in a body, in a time-space reality. You don't need, once you're spirit, once you're all that is, you know everything. What are you going to learn? So even by my joy of learning, and here's the catch-22, the joy of learning has got me here to know that it doesn't exist. And so, but now I'm saying the learning was a waste of time and I've got to give it up. So, but the fear then comes in, if I give it up and I'm not there yet, how am I going to get there?
That's what we're saying.
It's like catch-22, isn't it? The only way is to give it all up.
It's like I've got a friend who is very, she's not very intellectual. She's just a very nice person.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't overthink stuff.
I bet she's happy then. Yeah.
And so we could be in the same space and time,
Yeah.
receiving the same information,
Yeah.
and she'll just completely immerse herself in it. Whereas I'll just look at her and think, how's she there and I'm here?
Yeah.
And you can see the joy, the peace, the love, the hope, as she just and she's receiving the same information,
Yeah.
and she just accepts it.
Now it's so interesting, isn't it? Because you kind of started off with a negative judgment about her, like she's not into... No, I'm just saying, from what you said, all right, then my perception of what you said was she's not very intelligent, wasn't it? You said intellectual.
She doesn't overthink
Yeah.
things.
Okay, so, but in society, we honour intellect, don't we? We think, oh, if you went, oh, she's really intellectual, we'd think that was a good thing as such. But you see, people can do it naturally. I bet she's never read the Course in Miracles or anything. Some people can just do it naturally. Because you don't get involved. You know, those really laid-back people, just let it go. There's lots of people out there doing this naturally.
Where what you say is so interesting, because I was sharing last month how I have a projection of my brother, have expectation of him to go back to my village because I wanted him to study here, because I brought him here, I wanted him to do this. He hasn't done anything, but he's reading the Bible, try to shape his life the way he can. But my judgment of it all the time is that I really wish when we go to the village that I have studies. But for the Holy Spirit to come to me and say, who are you?
Who made you God? Who lived his own life, yeah.
Who made you give him a label of expectation and hold him on that for him to...
Now, so let me come in here.
Yes.
What's the point of us being here? Is it to study the Bible, the Course in Miracles and make ourselves happy? Or is it to go to the village and pay your pride? That's ego.
It's the ego.
So you're actually trying to ruin his life.
Exactly.
Not make you better.
And then now, even through the Course of Miracle, I'm back. I was sharing it with Abby, that I'm immersed in the Bible.
Yeah.
I am immersed now in the simplicity of things
Yeah.
that was from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Beautiful,
saying that as
beautiful,
well.
yeah. Okay. So just to reinforce, so I think because of the emotions, which again, you can only have emotion in a physical body. The emotions feel like they're you. We say, I am angry, don't we? So because of the emotional system, it convinces us even more that we are a physical body. Because your emotions are undeniable. You can control them, you can let them go, you can do all of that kind of stuff. But they're undeniable. Because who else are they coming from? Where else are they coming from? They're coming from the body. If you feel anger, you feel it here. If you feel excitement, you might feel it in the tummy. So the emotions are, if you like, are another ego trick to keep you immersed in the body. So again, when you said earlier about, was I walking because it's a beautiful day? Well, you said it was about the mind, but really it's about the body, because that feeling good has just tied you into a physical body. So, it's kind of a nightmare, really. And the course talks about the authorship. Now, I've only just realised, I've only just got this in the last couple of weeks, about what this is going on about. So, if you believe that God created you, if you genuinely 100% believe that, then you know he didn't create a physical body, because God is oneness, love, energy, however words you want to describe it. So from that, why would he make something so free, so limited? Why? What would be the point of making something physical? What would be the point? Because it's a backward step. Would you give your son or your daughter less? It's impossible, because when you have a baby, let's just do it in the real world, if you have a baby, that is all of your and your partner's material. That baby is you and the partner. It's the same material, has the same qualities as such, because you have created it from your DNAs. And as it grows up, it learns your way of looking at the world, your experiences, blah, 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 blah. So God, in the same way, if you like, can only create another version of itself. Well, God's not in a physical body, God's not limited, God's not blah, 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 blah. So why would his son be created like that? How could he be created like that? Because there's a difference between create and make. Create is something new. To make something, when you make something, you make it from ingredients that already exist. Think about that for a minute. Because again, it took me ages and ages to get the difference. Can you see that? Do your ego want to argue against that? Do, if it does, because it'll help us all. What's it saying?
I call my children my creations.
Yeah. But you didn't. You
No,
made
only saying it. So.
on the physical level, on this level, you made them. But really, they're an idea, aren't they? It's a creation.
I suppose creation evokes more than make. creation takes it on a multi-dimensional level, whereas if you make something, you make something. That's what it,
tangible.
So you're kind of saying this, because, you know, it's that thing, isn't it? What feels better, to create or to make?
yeah.
So, and again, as I understand it in the Course, what it's saying is God creates, because it was the original source. Everything after that is make. Because okay, let's use the terminology all that is. So if all that is already exists and there can't be anything outside of it, then that's the creation. Anything that comes after that is using an aspect of all that is, and therefore is made.
Oh my God.
So the problem of authorship is, if we don't get that we are created as God's only Son, 100%, it's not just an idea, it means live that, then what we are actually doing is playing the ego's game that we were made. And the ego, because it wants to keep you away from God, and we've agreed to play that game, who made us then? We must have made ourselves. Now, if you made yourself, are you going to destroy yourself? Are you going to give it all up for nothing? Because if you made yourself and then you do something and don't exist anymore, you can't remake yourself, because there's nothing to exist to remake from.
It's why it's very important to go back to the source of your creator, because you know, you go up with those philosophers who come out with quotation. Naître c'est commettre is a French. Naître c'est commettre. So you're born is pain. That
you're born in pain.
You're born to suffer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's the ego's opinion. Yeah.
And they teach you that as, you know, as a philosophical quote.
Yeah.
You know, and you live to source from their knowledge.
Who projected those philosophers out? If there's only you in this universe, who's projecting that out? Who's actually writing that quote? You are, aren't you?
I've got the quote, and I have to.
But you're buying into reality is real.
Then I have to go back to the source to find the truth.
Which is
God.
Which is what's the
My
truth
creator.
about? Why did you bring up the quote though? What's the truth in this situation?
The truth is, you are born to suffer. It is already naître c'est commettre. It's already pain to be alive. Is, you know, you're going to suffer. You're going to the journey is. That's
and what would God say about it?
God is the beauty of you, your identity, created you in the realms of what you are there for, a beautiful purpose, which is the amazing journey of this and that.
Okay, so what
that the pain and detachment, you know.
God, in the way I understand it, God would have no opinion, because he wouldn't even be able to see it. It doesn't exist. Do you get that? I think we came to the end of this last time, didn't we? We were talking about God isn't in this world. The best way to think about it as this is a dream. Okay, you're the dreamer and the dream characters. So you are everyone and everything. This is the whole thing about projection. It's just you projecting the film. Okay, that's why I said that's your quote. Okay, so if this is just our little dream, your father doesn't go into the dream with you. Let's say you're having a nightmare to fight the dragons. Your father would sit outside going, Nadine, wake up, it's okay, I'm here. So the only part of God, if you like, in the dream is the voice. So he doesn't see what you're dreaming about. You don't know what your son is dreaming about. You don't know if it's dragons and you don't care, because you know it's not real. You know you're going to wake up and the child will be okay. So I think because you're so have been so immersed in the Christian and the Bible and all of that, which is great, but I think that's why you're having struggles a little bit with the Course in Miracles view of because you've been taught God is here, God is love and all that, and he is, because he's in you. There's no separation between you and God. But in this level of reality, then it appears, the Bible teaches you God is here, he's watching, he's judging, and all of those kinds of things. So it's a bit of a different mindset change, I think, for you. Because I know, you know, at the end of last week, it was a bit kind of, said it in a bit of a harsh way. God doesn't exist, what are you talking about? Who are you praying to? All of that. Yeah. But that was just to shake you up a little bit and to make you think about it. Because, I mean, obviously I don't know what's right. I believe in the Course in Miracles. It makes absolute sense to me. But with the Course in Miracles, as I understand it, is that it's a dream. It doesn't exist. God's not interested in that way, i.e. just give us comfort. He doesn't come into the dream, doesn't wake me up from the dream, because I can dream whatever I like. It's free will. But he's always there to comfort me if I choose to listen. Because I might go, oh no, I love this dream, let me keep on dreaming, which is what we're all doing. We can all hear the voice, we all get the, you know, whether we see it in a class like this, or you see it through a book, or you see it through what else, or you hear it through music, or you get direct channeling. You know, the other opinion is always there. It's what voice do you listen to? Does that help a bit?
Wait, no, I'm getting you. Maybe it's down to the experience, because I didn't work to undo the ego in the fact of the Course of Miracle. My experience was the hand I found in me. So it's in that maybe sense that I perceive God, you know, as then understand that he was my creator.
Yes, I just think if you, what I hear you saying is, if you like direct, you got it direct. Let's say it like that. You know, God speaks to you or whatever it is. I would just, and again, you know, if you that's fine. That's the way. But in this level of reality, that's a different level of reality. That's the truth, if you like, the real word. But in this level of reality, when you say that philosopher, that's projection, because he's your dream character. That's all I'm trying to get you to see. So, because when we allow our projections to become real, you've just said that philosopher is separate from me, and therefore you're thinking with the ego, and you've just brought into this as reality. That's why it's important to kind of get the terminology and the levels right, as I understand it anyway. Does that make sense?
When I'm saying that what I was taught was a lie, because I was taught.
Because you were?
I was taught things. I thought that, you know, I was born and I was taught things.
Yeah.
Till I need to, and I was given the truth.
Yeah. But, you see, it depends what level you're talking from. If you're talking from this world, that doesn't make any sense, because you're the dreamer and you're the dream characters. So it's all just you playing with yourself, if you excuse the expression.
No, I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, that's okay. It's taken me years. And this is how I understand it. Hopefully I'm not wrong, because it all makes sense. But, you know, I could be wrong. So, but you've got to get there for yourself, haven't you? You've got to get to that place of understanding for yourself. So, you know, just be aware of the two different realities and how the ego tricks us. Whenever you say something out there exists, it's all separation, because you've said out there. So you've got to get that it's a mind-based reality. It's a dream is only in your head. Think about a dream. There's never a beginning and there's never an end. Is there? You never start, you're born in the dream and all of this. It starts at a certain point and then it ends usually before there's a nice outcome ending. You wake up or whatever it may be. And that's what it's really saying.
So how can we identify the ego then? If we...
You can't, sorry.
I mean, I understand, but how can we identify element, characteristic of the ego?
How can we identify them? By looking at what we're dreaming about, by looking what's in front of you.
And the projection, again, is what I was taught. I believe this is my projection.
Good.
And then that discernment today...
But you didn't really believe that, because you said that philosopher who had a different opinion to you, unless you're going to accept, okay, I'm created him to show me that was in me and I didn't want to believe it or I didn't like it, and you've updated the
My
program.
point of it was, they were saying I accepted what they told me until I see otherwise now. That life is beautiful.
Good.
The way God created it. That life is really love. That life is
Are
really...
you talking about this life then?
Yes.
No, God, you see, God hasn't created this life. This is the difference, okay? You're doing really well because you're drawing it all out for us. God, this is your dream. You are the Son of God.
On earth as in heaven. On earth as in heaven.
But that's what you've created in this dream. There's nothing real in
But
this dream.
In this dream for me, I'm following a journey.
Yeah,
which
we are.
was designed for me to achieve something.
Yeah.
Which now I'm following that path of my guidance.
But let me ask you this.
Yes.
If you truly believe you're God and God is all that is and knows everything, what is it you're trying to achieve? You know everything, you are everything, you've done everything.
No, he's teaching me.
Did
I
you?
have a master who's teaching me
in the
best
course,
way to survive.
But in the course,
Yeah.
it says learning is not of God. Because if you are all that is, you are complete. There is nothing to learn.
But how do we solve problem then? If we,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's catch-22. This is what I was saying earlier. Okay, so my love of learning has got me to the place where I don't believe this is real anymore. Okay, but I'm still here playing the game. So if I stop learning, because I know as a theory, if you like, theoretically, that, you know, I am Son of God, therefore I should be complete, there's nothing to learn, I am everything, I don't need everything, all of those kinds of things. If I believed that 100%, I would be awake and I would have nothing to learn. Obviously, I'm here, so I'm not awake, so I must have more to learn. But by knowing that there's more to learn, I've just reinforced that I'm separated from God and I'm not God's son. Does that make sense? I know it's a huge shift. Just have it and think about it. Yeah. You really, you know, and I think because you're so immersed in, you know, and loving God and feeling, when you talk, we know you feel God and all of that kind of stuff, which is brilliant. But you've got to realise if you want to be that 100%, that you can't play both games. You can't have a foot in both camps.
Because I cannot be that 100% without acknowledging that I have God who is leading my path.
Well, perhaps this is an easier way to describe it. Okay, so let's say God is on radio station 100, okay, and we're all on, I don't know, 25.8 and 50.9 and all of that, okay. On your radio, the only way you can hear Radio 100 is if you are tuned into Radio 100, yeah? I might get it on 99.8, I might be able to get a warped version of it, but I have to get to that vibration in order to be able to really go to heaven. So I have to get myself, I can't get to heaven being, I love God and I am God and all that, while still playing the ego's game, which drops my vibration.
Of course, it's where the faith stands. The faith stands now because I know my ego is very powerful, so I can't do it on my own.
Exactly.
I trust that I can do it on my own.
Yeah.
So therefore, the trust and faith that I have is entangling the ego to stand in the righteous of the full spirit, leaving the flesh to that spirit, and see the world as He's created it.
So
on heaven as heaven on earth.
So this is fantastic. That's your right, let's say your right side spirit talking. But you're also bungeeing down by what you're saying, like the philosopher's quote, took your vibration down.
No, I didn't perceive it that way. It was just a recognition to how, I have understood what needed to be done.
Okay.
Because it's like I was told a lie. I have applied that till my awakening. I did not know nothing else. I did not know.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I understand exactly what you're saying.
No, it's a discernment. It's not buying of what he said.
Excellent.
Because I was believing in everything and anything.
Yeah.
I'll go to school, they would teach me what I'll be reading and applying all the self-help book where everybody have give their tips.
Exactly.
Then apply. Then I know that themselves they're looking for that creation.
Yeah, that's what we're
connection,
all looking for.
that souls.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
No, I'm not applying that anymore. I'm discerning.
Good, excellent.
Choices.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So the point was that you have to realise you did not make yourself. The ego will buy you into the fact that you made yourself, therefore we fear death as such. But if you realise God made you, and what God makes is eternal and can never be diminished and can never end, because it can't be all that is except you now, if you think you've died or not exist anymore. All that is unchanging, cannot be changed. Therefore you cannot die, you cannot be diminished. None of that makes any sense. Does that make sense? So the idea of authorship is really important. So you're the dream and the dream character. Only bodies can be in time and space and be in a relationship with somebody else. Therefore the body, to how the Holy Spirit uses it, becomes a tool of communication, a tool of right communication. So if I see you as me, we're all one, and I absolutely treat you with love, and I see you as the Son of God, I'm going to treat you very differently than when I think I'm small self me, and our relationships are to get something. Why do you pick a partner? Because they've got something that I want. They complete me. They're my other half. All the language that we use and that we did last time. So only a body can be attacked or attack, and only a body can die. You don't really die, but you have a scene change if you like. Only a body can sin, because sin is an action. And if you're not the body, you haven't really done anything, nothing's really happened, why would you need to feel guilt? In your dreams, do you feel guilty about what you've done? No, you wake up and you go, oh, that was a weird dream. So again, why it's important to know it's a dream. Only small I, and again, only the small self can be wrong. Only a body can get sick, because sickness is of the mind. It is an instruction from the mind. The body cannot get sick on its own. Even if you believe a virus has come, then the virus is your creation also. It's about fear, isn't it? It's about, you know, anything can get me at any time, all of that kind of victimhood programming. And we make the virus the scapegoat. Because I always say to somebody, what's the gain? What's the gain of this sickness? Because I know they're creating it. Why would you create it? And even though their little conscious mind says, no, I want to be well, obviously on some level, the big unconscious is saying, no, this has a gain. So I had a client this week who has been travelling all over the world for 7 years. He got very, very sick in Peru. On his first journey, he got very, very sick. And since then, he's had loads of gastric troubles. Now, the ego says that makes sense. If you go to these kind of less developed countries where they eat different things and they're not perhaps as hygienic as we are, then you're going to get sick. So almost his belief is creating his sickness all over wherever he goes. Comes back to England, he's fine. However, in Australia on his last trip, he got extremely sick, passed out, had to go to hospital and be airlifted home. He was diagnosed with 9 ulcers. Okay, so the ego's going, oh look, it's the ulcers that are causing this problem. Projection. So, you know, and since then he's been diagnosed with post-infection IBS, whatever that is. And this is an infection 7 years ago, remember. Your body is renewed every 2 years if we're going to play the physical game, so how does that make sense? You must keep creating it with your mind. And if you're doing anything, you're doing it because you believe there's a gain. So when I said to him, okay, let's look in the subconscious, why are you keeping this? Why are you keep creating it? What's it giving you? So here's the paradox. His unconscious came up with, okay, I said, what would you want to be doing if you weren't ill? He said, I would go back to Peru. I really love Peru. I really want to be back there. And then I asked the subconscious, the unconscious, why are you not going then? And he said, because I'll get really sick there. So here's the paradox. The little conscious mind is going, I don't want to be sick anymore. But the big protective unconscious is going, but if I don't keep you sick, you're going to go back to Peru and you're going to get sick. Catch-22. So he can't let go of the illness and he can't go to Peru and be happy. What a fantastic ego trick. Keep you small, keep you ill, keep you here. Because when he's in Peru, he flies. He's in his spiritual self. He's teaching English. He loves the... Do you see how it's working? Without a body, that would not be possible. So the sickness becomes the scapegoat. Experiences of lack and fear. You know, if I haven't got enough money, what do I worry? I won't have a house. I'll be on the streets. I'll be attacked. I'll die. None of that's possible without a body. The body then is really, the Course in Miracles says, it's a tool of communication, a sender and receiver of messages. I project out what's in my unconscious so that I can see it. I receive the message back and I can choose whether I want to hang on to it or get rid of it. It cannot, without a body, change is only possible if you understand it's coming from your mind. Only a cause can change, not an effect. If I believe, let's say you've upset me, it looks like you're the cause and I'm the effect. I can't change an effect, you can only change a cause. So I have to wait for you to change. Victimhood, okay? However, if I realise that you're my projection, I might be playing victim, I'm waiting to hear what you say so I can go, oh, you're horrible to me. So I can go, poor me, and play my sickness and my victimhood game. I am the cause of that. I can change the cause, I can change the way I think about it, i.e. I'm not going to let you affect me, you can say what you like, you don't bother me, I'm spirit, or whatever. And then cause and effect have been brought to the same place and therefore nothing happened. If I don't take your attack, if I don't take what you said as anything other than my projection, why am I creating this to see that I'm still playing victim, then I can let it go. It's nothing to do with you. It was my projection. Fix my beliefs and programs. Don't blame the mirror. That's only possible if we're in separate bodies, isn't it? And I can only attack myself if I believe I have two parts of the mind, because attack has to have two bits, the attacker and the attacked.
But how can you get there without knowing that this existence is love?
Without knowing what?
That the existence now is love.
The assistant?
The existence.
Oh, existence. Well, okay, we're going to come on to the positive bits in a second. Let's just get through what the body can and cannot do. So again, it makes cause and effects viable. It limits you. I can't go to Peru unless I get on a plane and it's going to take this long and blah, blah, blah. Whereas if I was spirit, what does Jesus do? He just appears and he goes wherever he wants to do. He walks across the water because he knows he's not a physical body. Our belief that we're a physical body is so full of limitation and you experience scarcity. So belief that you are a body is a fundamental error from which everything else arises. Why do you wash in the morning? Why do you wash? To get clean. So what if you're not clean? What happens? What's the fear?
Judge you.
Sorry?
People judge you.
Yes! People go, oh, I'm not sitting next to her, she stinks.
Because they say matter then, because your ego, your body,
Yeah.
your physical body.
So, but how is the ego tricking you into thinking washing is a good thing? Because if you are judged as lovable, unlovable, unlikable, or not an asset, you will not survive. So if you all hate me, I stink, you all hate me, when I'm in trouble, nobody will come to my aid. So much of what you're doing, okay, we could just say, like we did at the beginning, washing is about having a nice clean body and being popular, but it's not. It's the ego stalking you with death, cleverly cloaked in silly little things that we don't pay attention to. Shocking, isn't it? It's ridiculous. And when you say it out loud, you think, how have I played this stupid game all of these years? What is the matter with me? Am I blind? No. The ego is just, the magician goes, pick a card. And while you're picking the card, he's getting one out of his pocket. He wants your attention here, but he's doing something else underneath. The real action is happening somewhere else.
But so, isn't it, I do understand that, but it's years from birth of socialisation and what we're led to believe, and it's at what point people actually get to this stage, do they see what...
So I want to answer your question on 2 levels. If we're going to play the reality game and time and space, yes, we have to undo all of that programming, all of the beliefs and all of the things that we've taken, like you said, everything is a lie. So in time and space and process, if we believe we're here, yes, it's going to take not necessarily a long time, but a process to go through. However, if you just go, there's no work to do because it's a dream. That's why the Course in Miracles talks about don't bother to try and understand the meaningless. So there's a quick way to do it, if you can do it. Or there's the because we believe, and we're all here, so we all believe we're in time and space, we have to do it, if you like, the long way around. Does that answer your question?
It does, but
Yeah, go on, that's okay.
what I'm going to say then is, similarly, our socialisation, that ego has been with us from almost birth. So is it that easy to switch off and leave it all to...
Well, again, it's up to you. It's your dream. How are you going to create it? But you see, again, just one second.
Yes.
So you trapped yourself by the words you use there. Does anyone spot it? What was it,
Yes.
Kira?
That you've kind of tied yourself into this thing that we've been so conditioned.
By saying what as well?
Bound by the ego.
The ego's been with me since birth.
Well, yeah.
Well, you weren't born. If you're not a body, you weren't born and you don't die. The ego's only with you because you've got a split mind and you believe. So when we start to become whole-minded, we don't allow... I can hear, the voice of the ego as an opinion. I can hear the spirit as the opinion. And then I get to judge which one I'm going to listen to. So it's about becoming whole-minded, if you like.
Which is why you might be right that as a Christian, my Christian value wouldn't really say as when I'm dreaming is something. When I'm dreaming, if I receive a dream, is a message of this existence for me. So being at the area of my awakening, I just don't leave the dream. Well, if I dream, it's where, maybe my Christian value wouldn't just say it's all done, but to get it all, I have to undo with the Holy Spirit. I have to undo my cause and effect. I have to look at you, and the Holy Spirit will say sorry.
But you're still playing the physical game as if, so this is the whole forgiveness thing. God doesn't know about forgiveness. God will never forgive you because it never sees that you've done anything wrong. But by you saying, I have to forgive you, you've already made her sin real. No. You've already played the ego's game.
I have to play love. I have to love everyone.
All right, you can play love. You can play what you like, but you're still playing the game in the dream. Does that make sense? Because if you were truly, let's say, enlightened, you wouldn't even have seen any attack. You only
Even Jesus cried. He had emotions.
Yeah, because Jesus came to teach us how to overcome it in the dream.
Exactly, it's why we're here then.
But it's your dream. You've created Jesus in the dream.
But he existed with some teaching, which the application of...
But you see, you're reinforcing that there has been a history. It's his story, your story.
Which
it's your dream.
To a question, how can you really apply this without properly undo? You can't just say, I'm going to change it now and make it happen.
When you dreamed last night, for example, okay, you woke up and you were in a different, let's say, time and space, yeah? So whatever happened in the dream, let's say Denise upset you in the dream, Are you going to come here this morning and take it out on her or have any reaction whatsoever?
No, because I have a master. I have a master who's communicating with me. So he teach me ways to maintain.
But when you say that there's some action that I have to take, you've just said the dream is real.
When I have an emotion or something, I
forget.
don't blame others. I go back to the master who projects.
Okay, but really in your dream, you go back to God and sort out every dream.
No.
No, that's what I'm saying. So let's just talk really plainly. Okay? We're not talking any higher purpose or anything. Just when you dream at night, right? Let's say you had a dream that, I don't know, Denise was chasing you with a spear. Okay? In the morning, what would you think?
I am at the level where if I have a dream.
If you had that dream,
Yes.
what would you think in the morning when you woke up?
Or I wake up with a work to be done. For when I see Denise, I am capable to loving her regardless. So
you're saying
it work on me to be able to love her.
Hold up.
So
what you're saying is you believe in the dream she was really chasing you with a spear and it was real. Because if you wake up and you have to do that work on it, you're saying that she was really just chasing you with a spear.
No, is a dream is something, a message to be communicated.
Okay.
That God is communicating.
Okay, but is that about you or Denise?
No, me.
Yeah.
Me, I'm the problem.
Okay.
So
yes.
I am.
Right,
I am
stop
okay.
there, just so we can stay on
Nobody
track.
else is.
No.
Because my destiny is to love.
But that's the point then,
That's
isn't it? Okay, so there's the difference between what happens in your dream that is irrelevant but relevant for you. But Denise is not really a part of it. She was just playing a character or whatever. As opposed to when you wake up and then there's something different.
Because I identify that I have a purpose. So everything that happened to me is an action for a cause to do something. So therefore,
but the dream was not real on any level other than it was a message to yourself, if you want to say that. Do you get that?
Can I just say, because that's the question for me when people say that I have to get to a higher place and there is something higher than me and there is a God out there, isn't that just reinforcing the separation?
Yeah, because there are no levels.
There is no God out there.
No.
Otherwise you just believe that there is the separation.
Well said, yeah.
The minute you're saying God is out there and I have to get to where He is and He's more powerful and He, the Word, it's creating the separation. There isn't a separate thing from us.
There isn't any separation, but I am whole with God.
But you're not.
But I cannot be that whole without God. I am whole with Him. My purpose is love. I am here to love. I am here, and I cannot love without.
Okay, let's talk about what is love then, because here's the basic confusion, isn't it? What is love? Because you're here to love Him. So what are you doing to love Him as such, or what is it that loves Him, or how does He show His love to you? What is love?
Love is the feeling of recognition that true.
But you see, feeling is of the body. That's brought you just back into this reality. If this is the way I understand it, again, it's just the way it makes sense to me. God is love. Now, not just as it's a thing. It just is. That's the basic creation of the universe.
So God is love. God is.
Yeah.
God is.
But you are the Son of God. Therefore, you are. So it's not about doing anything. Because if I have to do anything to prove I am love, then I've said I'm not love.
How can I identify the ego? Why am I identifying the ego then? So I'm already love. I'm already whole.
Yeah.
So how am I identifying
and
the
if you
ego?
really believe that, boom, you'd wake up like that.
It's why
Because you'd be on
work.
Radio Love, and then you would see...
It's why we're doing the work. Like Nazila say, we were born in that ego arena. So I cannot undo the ego to reach my destiny.
But
by
again,
myself.
I have to pick you up on your language because
You weren't born.
you weren't born because you
I
just
was born because I had a creator. I have a creator. I was born.
Yeah, but okay, but creation. No, you're doing really well because you're drawing it all out. Listen. Let me try
I
again.
understand the dilemma.
You weren't born. When you say born, you've brought yourself into a physical body. Okay, you were created
Yes,
as love. You are love.
I was,
Therefore, when you really, truly, 100% believe that, you'd be on Radio God. And therefore, you would be reunited. You wouldn't have to talk up to him. He wouldn't have to come down and guide you and all of that kind of stuff.
But there was a lie. I have identified that everything I was taught was a lie. Then God has taught me exactly what is my mission, which is that love, and I cannot accomplish that love because there's some practice.
That's what's causing you the trouble. There's nothing for you to learn. There's nothing for you to do. It's like me being a potato. Let's say God was the potato, cuts us all into chips, okay, and crisps. So we're all out here. You're cheese and onion, you're tomato, you're beef, you're whatever, okay. Now we can all pretend we're this and that and the other, and say, oh, you know, my lovely God, the potato. How much I love you. How much I need to be like you. I need to learn how to be potato. But I am potato. I look now like a crisp, and I've covered myself in different flavours, and I lost touch with actually the fact I'm already potato. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? I don't have to prove I'm potato. I just am potato, and there's no getting away from it. Tough luck, you're potato. Tough luck, you're God. Tough luck, you're love.
If we're potato, why are we all sitting here?
Because now we think we're Chris. Because now we think we're Chris. Oh, look at me, tomato.
So we didn't know that.
Look at you, salt vinegar. Oh, you're not tomato. You're not
didn't
tomato.
know that.
What about, you must have heard that quote about, I can't remember who it's from, but it's about we're all spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah, a tree.
Right, so that's, right, okay then.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So there's nothing that you have to prove.
The work that needs to be done is undoing of the ego.
That's
Because
it.
of what you didn't know before, you
Yeah.
need to undo it now, and like you say, replace it.
Yeah, while we're still dreaming.
But you have to identify the ego, because when you say we can either do it now, how can I just get up and just apply this?
Well, and there's no reason why you shouldn't if you believed it 100%. But we don't believe it 100%. We like to think about it. We like to play it. You know, I know it all as theology, if you like. I think I understand it all. But there's obviously something that I won't give up. Now, again, this is the way I've come to understand it. Like my son, he is my creation, if you like. Am I going to send him away? Am I going to kill him? Am I going to let him go and just float off? So in that's a microcosm, if you like, of the macrocosm, is I have to give up everything I love and created. We love our creations. And this is why, because God loves his creations more than anything. He will never abandon us. He will never let go of us, kill us, destroy us, judge against us, anything like that. So we've learned that we can't do that with this creation. And so it's catch-22 again.
Like they say, we value our creations and we created the ego.
Yeah.
Therefore we value it
And
on
we
some
won't
level,
kill it.
whether we like it or not.
Yeah,
We've lived by it a long time,
yeah.
not knowing. So
It's your baby.
there's
It's
a
your
lot in the
baby.
subconscious that values the ego.
Yeah, you.
Because I, like you say, this front mind wants it gone, but there's a lot down there that doesn't want it gone.
yeah.
So as it would be, wouldn't it?
That's the whole point. And because you're always in control whether you want to own it or not. So I must be choosing on some level, and the only way it's ever made sense to me is God loves its creations so much. We are God's baby, if you like. God loves its baby so much. It doesn't judge against it. It lets it dream what it wants to dream and all of that. Then how can I destroy mine?
Parts of it you value.
Because you love it all. You love it all. We might play the game of all of this, It's quite exciting, isn't it? Don't you feel really good when you've learned something and you've become a little bit more enlightened? It's like, you know, so we love the game, we love the dream, we love and because we don't really know what's after, we can't remember where we came from and what it was like, are we going to risk giving it all up for something that we don't know 100% exists, or we can't remember, or however you want to say it, and therefore, there's the two elements, isn't it? A, you don't know what you're giving up and what for, and B, that you love this so much you can't give it up. Therefore, what does that make you? Stuck.
Yeah.
That's depressing. Let's have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
It gets better in the second half. The Course in Miracles says, recognise that you need to do nothing and you have withdrawn the body's value from the mind. So there's absolutely nothing that you have to do. You don't have to prove you're lovable. You don't have to prove you're likeable. You don't have to do anything. And that's the quickest, easiest way, if you like, to get there, is just to let go of the body all completely. The Course also says there's two obstacles to peace. The desire to get rid of peace, what we were talking about earlier, you know, we love the ego and we love our creations. The body can bring pleasure and pain. So we value the pleasure. We might not like the pain, but obviously we value the pleasure. And the belief that the body is valuable for what it offers you. And what does it offer you? We believe life, existence, all of those kinds of things. So the body does nothing of itself. We talked about this earlier. It has to have an instruction from the brain. Therefore, you make yourself sick and you choose to die. I know that's shocking and hard to get your head around, but if you're not a body, it makes absolute sense, doesn't it? We habitually look for what's wrong instead of what's right. You don't go to the doctors for them to tell you what's right, do you? You go for them to tell you what's wrong. When do you only pay attention to the body?
When you're ill.
When you're ill, when something's hurting, you know, all of that kind of stuff. There cannot be a part of you that is sick. It may seem like, I don't know, the elbow hurts, but it's a sickness of the mind. The body does not exist. So I am projecting onto the elbow, and I had an experience of this years ago when I had tennis elbow and I thought it was tennis and I changed my backhand and all of that and it was still there. And my creative visualization teacher said to me, who or what do you want to give the elbow to? I knew exactly who she was talking about, and when I got him out of my life, my elbow cleared up. Because it wasn't the elbow, it was my mind trying to show me through an area of the body where I had a phrase that made sense, that this is something you need to be doing. Because if you don't get there in the mind, it will be reflected through the body, because that's the only thing we pay attention to. We don't pay attention to our thoughts. Our thoughts run all day long. We, now and again we might sort of, do our work and see what we're doing, but the majority of your thoughts run unimpeded all day long, which is why you do the band exercise. When you do it, you start to suddenly notice how unhealthy your thoughts are. Yeah. Or if you're trying to diet and you start to write down what you're eating, you notice suddenly you're eating a hell of a lot more than you thought you were. So to heal is to make joyous, and therefore the same as to integrate. What does that say? So I can't read my own writing. To heal is to make joyous, and therefore you need to integrate or make one. So to heal is not what we think it is, i.e. the body gets better or whatever. We heal when we become one. We get rid of the separation, we integrate what's really going on, and we know it's of the mind, and the mind is always of one. So how can I have a separate elbow? It's one thought, one mind. The body cannot be sick, only the mind can be sick, only your perception is sick. And this is the really interesting thing. Somebody else has to make your sickness real. That's what we go to the doctors for, isn't it? So they can confirm my creation that I am sick. You've probably had that experience where you feel really fine and someone goes, oh, you're right, you don't look very well. And all of a sudden, you start to feel unwell. So the whole point is why we have other people out there, our brothers, is to confirm our reality. So I'm only sick if it's confirmed by someone or something else. Again, you need to really think about that. You need to get your head around that. So, healing is only of the mind. The body never heals. What I do is realise it's actually a thought, it's of my mind, and then the symptoms disappear because they are the effect. The cause is my thoughts. Pain is in the head. We know that from mainstream, if you like, because, you know, it's the nerve sensors. If I put my hand on the stove, it's not really the hand that feels the pain. The sensors go, oh, the temperature is rising, goes up to my brain. My brain interprets, this is, a stove is hot, therefore move your hand. Or the stove is hot, you will burn your hand, therefore the instruction goes down, you will burn your hand. We need to correct cause and effect. It's never the virus, it's never the tennis elbow, it's always in my head, the cause. Distract yourself. You may have had those experiences where when you've got a pain but then you have to go to work or you have to do something, while you're busy, you don't feel the pain anymore because the mind can only think of one thing at a time. So to distract yourself aids healing. Look at your old programming and your learned behaviours. If your mum always went, oh my God, are you all right? Are you all right? Come on, have a cuddle and all that. She has taught you pain equals pleasure. If you need pleasure, if you need comfort when you're an adult, you may start to create sickness in order to get that. That's why sickness always has a gain. Again, it's what it's connected to. My example earlier, if I believe if you drink alcohol, you will get a hangover, when I drink alcohol, I will get a hangover. How is that possible if there's no body to feel the pain? It's because I believe it and I will project it onto the body. Believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. Always again, why am I creating this? And I gave you that story, I think really beautifully shows the power of the mind. Ego, again, if you have any pain or sickness, you have gone into the wrong mindedness of the ego. Believing you're a body, believing cause and effect, all of those kinds of things. And only the body can attack, remember. So you can attack yourself because there's two parts of you. You've got the split mind, if you like. See only spirit and oneness in you and your brothers, therefore you will not see any illness and sickness in them or yourself. Sickness is a judgment only you make. Because if I had that elbow and I just ignored it and it wasn't a problem, it's not a problem. It's only a problem if I go, oh, poor elbow, it hurts every time I hit my backhand. Now I've made it a problem. So it's my judgment, my story about it, that makes it true. And what are you projecting onto the body? Have a think for a moment about what you project, what you think about, how you feel and think your body is. What are you projecting onto your body? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is it big? Is it too small? Is it your hair nice? Your hair not nice? All those kinds of things. Just have a think for a minute. Anybody want to say anything?
Nothing good.
Nothing good, yeah, it sums it up really, doesn't it? Yeah, because all of your negative judgments, or a lot of your negative judgments about how you look, what you can do and what you can't do, you in comparison to everyone else, because the ego loves everybody else because it can compare itself favourably or not against others. If there's no other one to compare myself to, how can I have a negative judgment about myself? How can I have any judgment about myself?
But I am beautifully made.
Perfectly created.
Perfectly created.
Perfectly created.
Yeah.
And again, you really have to get to that place where that is absolutely true for you, which really means paying no attention whatsoever, if we go back to the beginning, to the body. And I think what's really helped me is I'm not really bothered about the way I look, as you can see. I've never been really bothered about the way I look and clothes and all of that kind of stuff. Because I had celiac disease, I've got celiac disease, I was never really interested in food and all of that kind of thing. So, and I think that's really helped me be able to get over some of this stuff. Because my worth isn't based on what I look like, thank the Lord.
But it is a lot of work though, to be able to have the affirmation of self, because then going back to acknowledge that I was created by God. Therefore, we're going to come to that realization and stand by in faith, because then the division of the ego was like, you are black, you are this. It's not that I'm dead, I'm just saying the work is being continuously done by the Holy Spirit to present my identity as a child of God, which is then I'm beautifully made and created.
Beautifully created, perfectly created.